I'm Donna Williams, chairwoman of the Wake County Republican Party, coming to you today from our office, and sitting next to me is Dr. Julie Flood. And Dr. Julie Flood is our candidate for the Court of Appeals, seat 8. And I just want to say thank you so much for coming in today and
Thank you
talking
for
with me.
having me. It's an honor to be here.
You're
Thank
welcome. My goal is to let our listeners learn a little bit more about you today. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a couple questions, and you just take your time and answer them. And to the listeners, this lady has a wonderful story. So I'm just grateful that you are our candidate. So thank you. All right, my first question is, would you tell our listeners a little bit about you?
Sure. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. I'm a grandmother. I am a teacher at times. I've been a lifelong learner. I am an attorney, and I currently work for the Court of Appeals. And it's just a real honor to have been asked to serve in this way.
That's great. That is great. Can you tell us a little bit about your background, your education, and any jobs that you had before the current?
Sure. I've been kind of a lifelong learner. After receiving bachelor's and master's degrees from the University of Florida, I next obtained a master's in public administration. I then was inspired to go on and pursue my Juris Doctorate, my law degree. And after that, because of some business connections and previous connections doing some work for different attorneys, I was actually invited to come and pursue a PhD at the University of Tennessee, which I completed and very much enjoyed, and did some legal work in Tennessee as well.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
What made you decide to run for the Court of Appeals?
I have worked, I've worn different hats, several different hats, but one consistent job throughout about the last 20 years that I've gone into off and on has been working for appellate courts. I've actually served 9 different judges or justices in appellate courts in both state and federal courts, so that's at Court of Appeals level and Supreme Court level in some states. And based on that experience, I've drafted hundreds of judicial opinions. With that experience, I have been asked on different occasions to consider a run for the Court of Appeals. It needed to sort of fit time-wise into committing to a statewide campaign, and it's sort of an honor and a capstone to me to all these different experiences with different people who have so influenced my career and my legal thought process, and it is just a real joy and honor to be asked now to run for a seat in the judiciary.
Excellent. Will you explain to our listeners, what is the Court of Appeals? Because I have a feeling there's a few people that might not understand all that.
Sure. One of the things I hear a lot on the campaign trail, even after announcing that it's a statewide race, is, yes, but can we vote for you? Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes the fact that we have seats, seat 8 is what I'm running for, that people think sometimes it might be divided up by districts, but it's not. The Court of Appeals is actually a race for a Court of Appeals is a statewide race. All North Carolinians can vote for people running for the Court of Appeals. So it is statewide, just exactly like the Supreme Court. As far as the appellate cases that come to the courts, the Court of Appeals hears about 1,000 cases a year. Only about 15% of those then go on to the Supreme Court for one reason or another. So about 85% of your appellate law being made in North Carolina is being handled at the Court of Appeals. So it's a very important court and a great court to learn more about.
That's great. That's great. Would you share with us what your judicial philosophy is?
Sure. I consider myself a textualist. And what that means is that the law says what it says, and it means what it says. And just as importantly, it doesn't mean what it doesn't say. So it's a form of originalism whereby I look to the text of the Constitution, I look to the text of the statute, and I try to find out, to discern the meaning of the words that are within that piece of law. In addition, I believe in stare decisis, the principle of adhering to case law unless it is decided to just be severely wrong and harmful. So consistency in the law, predictability in the law is something that I'm very committed to. And as well, I believe in separation of powers strongly. I don't believe judges should be sort of black-robed quasi-legislators. And I believe that this helps to adhere to the judicial code of conduct and fairness and justice and serving all citizens.
Don't I wish all judges believed that? So thank you for explaining that.
Yes.
How can our listeners help you with your campaign?
Like I'm sure any candidate interviewing with you, there's the financial piece. As you might imagine, a statewide race, gas, hotels, food, materials, it's a very expensive race to run. And because the Court of Appeals is less well known, we certainly tend to usually be funded quite a bit less than some of the other statewide races. I appreciate everybody's physical boots on the ground helped with materials distribution and door knocking. And then just the emotional support, those words of encouragement, those prayers, those phone calls, those emails saying thank you and good job and hang in there. And we just really appreciate the support of everyone out there all throughout the state. It's really wonderful.
And I will say for myself, but I'm sure that our listeners are the same. They appreciate you running for this office.
Thank you.
And judges, I think in the recent past, we've all come to realize how important our judges are.
Yes, yes.
And it's judges that don't have an agenda other than to follow the law. So
Absolutely.
Thank you for that very
You're
much.
welcome.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners?
My website is julieflood.com, and Julie is spelled with no I, so that's Julee. And I'm just really excited to help this red wave happen, and I hope to have a flood as part of that red wave. Julee Flood. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Flood. And
Thank you.
I just want to finish by asking our listeners if you would please share this video. Social media, emails, anybody that you know that lives in the state of North Carolina, please share this with them. And, for that, please keep Dr. Flood and all of our other candidates for the court in your prayers. Help them in any way that you can. That is so very important. And I just want to wrap it up by saying we are coming to you live from the Wake County Republican Party office, which is at 1401 Sunday Drive, Suite 105. And below where you see this video is all of Dr. Flood's information as far as her website and how you can contact her, social media, etc. So once again, thank you so much for coming in today.
I appreciate it.
And thank you all for listening.